Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to an episode of Bull Reviews. My name is Bull, and we are reviewing the Forgotten Realms Dungeons & Dragons Drizzt and Guinevere action figure. This kind of came out of nowhere back around Pulse last year. It was announced a little bit beforehand, and then it was a Pulse exclusive. And this thing is just fantastic. It is a 6-inch Drizzt Warden and his Panther Guinevere figure. And this thing is just amazing. First off, this packaging is beautiful. It's got this silver inlay, creepy spider motif, because Underdark and Drow and all that for D&D. If you're not a D&D fan, some of this may go over your head, but even if you're not a D&D fan, this is a great figure. So, Dungeons & Dragons. On the back, there's a nice embossed thing with Drizzt, and Guinevere. It looks like they're fighting a dragon or something. It's hard to tell. So let's take this. Oh, and here we go. Now we can see it on the back. And yes, it is Drizzt and Guinevere fighting a dragon. So that's a nice piece of artwork. And we turn this around and boom, here's our figures. So it comes with Drizzt Warden and another head, some hands, the panther, and all kinds of stuff, but let's open her up and take a look, shall we? Okay, so we got everything out of the packaging here. First, I'm going to look at this, because this is the most unique thing in the packaging as far as I'm concerned, because we don't get 1/12 scale animals very often, and this thing is just a massive honkin' panther. He's got an articulated tail with a little bit of swivel to him. He's got some ball joint action going on the knee. He's got his articulated, the digigraded leg. The foot's articulated. He's got some back and forth ball joint action there. His neck, his head, his mouth is open, articulated. He is just well articulated, big honkin' just panther, just awesome. Honestly, even if I wasn't into D&D, I would get this just for this panther to go with a Black Panther display. I think that would just be fantastic. It comes with this little backdrop, which I'm just posting up here. That's just part of the packaging. We've got Drizzt himself. You can see he's got one head, he's got kind of windswept hair, and he's got kind of this manic grin to him. And then we've got more of a stoic Drizzt. Kind of has this half little smirk going on, though. You can see with his face. That's kind of neat. He's got this cloak. The cloak can come off if I take his head off. Actually, I'm going to do that, so we can see his armor a little better. I'll put the other head on. I like the smirking head for the moment. There we go. We got a different head here. All right. You can see with his armor, he's got great detail on this armor. Just all these plates and ridges, straps and buckles everywhere. This thing is just well detailed, really solid. Got some spikies down here, kind of pokey. So you want to be careful with that. You can kind of poke yourself good with those. I mean, you're not going to, stab yourself or anything, but yeah, he's got the detail continues on the back here. And then he's got a couple of sheaths, and the sheaths are for his two swords, Twinkle and Icing Death, I believe they were called. I'm going to be honest; it has been well over 20 years since I read any books with Drizzt in it. I was never a huge fan of the character. Not so much for the character, but for all the fanboys that came along afterwards that wanted to play. Because the Drow were primarily an evil race because, they had this evil god queen that ruled them. And just as a whole, the entire race was was evil because that's what their god wanted them to. The god was an influence on them. That's changed a little bit over the years. But back in the day, Drizzt stood out because he was one of the few good Drow. He was one of the only Drow that broke away from their society and didn't want to follow their spider god queen, Lolth. Vile thing. I can't believe I ever red or anything with them because my spider phobia is huge. But so yeah, I think that's their names. I don't remember them real well, but he's got his two swords here. I remember they were pretty potent swords. He's got a little statue here because Guinevere is actually his panther is actually a figurine of wondrous power. So it's actually this figurine, and then he can activate this, and it summons or turns into the panther. He's got a couple of extra hands here. He's got a fists, and then he's got his holding hands so that he can hold his weapons. Or actually, no, he's got his two hands here which hold, and he's got one kind of just a hand. Okay. He's got this little necklace that has a little unicorn symbol on it, and I know that's something. I know it's a magic item, and I know it represents something, and I don't know what, because again, I just don't know him that well. This is cool. There's these ice effects that slip onto the swords. So it kind of gives you this, because the swords are have ice powers to them. So that's kind of neat. Gives you this magic effect for them. And it comes with this big honkin' D20 with the D&D logo on it for the 20. And then finally, it comes with these cards, and they're neat. I have no idea what they're for. They've got, like, there's one with the dragon on it. And there's one with a, I'm not sure what that is. And we've got this, we got a couple of goblins. A gnoll. A beholder. And a frost giant. And they say something up at the top, and they have words on the back, but I don't know what that language is supposed to be. Maybe it's supposed to be Drowish, Drow, whatever the language Drow speak are. I don't know. I have one complaint with these. They're really nice. They're like this glossy paper, but I wish they were thicker because they're just flimsy paper, and I might not be able to see it on this, but unfortunately they were in a plastic bag with a piece of tape, and when I opened the bag up and tried to pull them out, the tape kind of caught on one of these and it kind of wrinkled it. So I don't know. They're neat, but I don't really know what they are. They're just some sort of little accessory. But Drizzt is pretty cool. He's got, let's see, butterfly joints, it looks like. Does he have? Yeah, he's got a butterfly joint in the shoulders. Double elbow, double knee. Yeah, so he's got really good range of articulation. This thing here, despite covering up his shoulder, doesn't get in the way when he raises his shoulder up like that. So he's got some really good articulation, good ab crunch. Really solid. A lot of good engineering on the posability for him. This was like I said, this was a limited. It was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, and it was a limited time thing. So I don't know if it's still. I don't think it's still available. You might see him still pop up occasionally on Pulse, but unfortunately, I think it's strictly going to be secondary market because this was a exclusive. I really hope they do more. Partially because I would just love to have more 6-inch fantasy figures that are affordable. There's a couple of companies that do them, that do fantasy figures in the 6-inch style, but unfortunately they tend to run like $40-50 usually, which is out of my price range for figures. I can't justify spending that much on a single figure. Anything above 20 gets a little ridiculous. So I would love to see more, especially because then I could do customs. Like I could take this head, throw this on a G.I. Joe body or something like that, and I would have a nice. Actually, let's try something real quick. I've got Firefly here. Let me see if I can. It would take a little finesse. The vest and the hair aren't playing nicely, but I could put this head on this body and have a nice Shadowrunner, little elven. Demolitions expert here, which would work out pretty well. So yeah, I wish they would do more stuff like this because I would love to cannibalize, if nothing else, love to cannibalize fantasy figures to make Shadowrun figures. That would be just fantastic. But anyways, this set was great. I love it. It was fantastic. Well worth it in my opinion to get. Go out if you can get it and you can get it at a reasonable price. Definitely do so. I just noticed I don't know if it's showing up on the camera, but he's got kind of like silver highlights on his shoulder there. That's kind of neat. Or not silver, purplish, which fits the motif here. But yeah, no, this was a solid figure. Fantastic. Love him. He was definitely a must-buy, even if I'm not a huge Drizzt fan, just to get this. And I'm really hoping they do more D&D figures in the future. I think that would just be amazing. That's it for tonight. Thank you for watching. Big shout out to all my supporters for Patreon. They're the reason I can do these things. Without their support, it'd be hard to do any of this. If you're interested in supporting me on Patreon, link down in the description below. I do not only these toy reviews, but I do fiction, and I do game stuff, and I do all kinds of stuff. ADHD brain means I like to do a lot of different stuff, and don't focus well on any one thing. Also, merch. I've got t-shirts and such. Link down in the description below. You can see some of it here on the screen. And, yeah, that'll be it. So, thanks for watching, and guys, take care, and guys and gals, and whoever's watching this, take care, and we'll see you next time. And don't forget, keep playing with your toys.